Psychologist Steve Eshel, president of the International Cultic Studies Association, estimates there are as many as 10,000 cults in the US alone today, and about 850 people in the US go in and out of cults a year. All of the information in this speech is from the International Cultic Studies Association, the New Zealand Herald, and the Emory University. Cults are awful organizations, I think most people know that take advantage of people and take their money, time, and freedom. You want to avoid becoming a cultist, obviously, and I'm going to tell you how to do that. What is a cult and how do they operate? Cult is an ideology organization held together by charismatic relationships, usually with the charismatic leader, and high levels of commitment. Often this commitment comes in the form of money, labor, time, possessions, and your own freedom. People harmed by cults will often report feeling betrayed, abused psychologically, if not also abused physically or sexually. And they feel traumatized, depressed, guilty, angry, anxious, distrustful, and confused. Often, these feelings will make it much harder for a person to get out of a cult after, because they feel like it's their fault that they feel that way when other people feel happy in the cult, or if they felt happy in the cult originally, like they usually do. 500,000 people belong to occultic groups at one time, and worldwide, 85,000 people go in and out of cults a year. How could people join a cult when they're obviously such bad organizations that take advantage of people? Well, cults use a technique called indoctrination. This process takes place in 3 phases and consists of 8 steps. Phase 1 is the longest phase, which is the introduction. It's how they lure people in and keep them in the group while they're starting to get worse, but not quite there yet. First, they identify the recruit. The average age of a cultist is somebody that's 25, and obviously at this time, people are going into college, they're coming out of college, they're trying to figure out what to do with their lives, both with their jobs and with their actual life. They're usually very vulnerable people. Another time that they often go in and out of cults is right after they get out of high school. Obviously going into college is hard, especially if you don't get a lot of money for scholarships and you have to pay for it. Another group that is especially vulnerable is elderly people, because they're out of jobs and retirement, they have a lot of free time, and they have to find things that they want to do with their life. Then they'll be invited to an introductory event. Usually this is something like, let's all go to a group retreat together, it'll be something fun, let's go swimming, let's go to like a church event. And this is something just to pull them in so that they see the cult being happy and fun, and they get to meet the members and get connected to them. Then the cult will start love bombing. They'll give them a ton of attention and support, and they'll make them feel loved and welcome, and like they finally found somebody that's gonna support them through their whole life and all the time in the cult so that they want to stay. The 4th step is that they will sell the image of the cult. This is obviously done through all of these steps, but it especially turns up after they start love bombing. They'll bring them into the cult, they'll show them all of the fun things they have, all of the money, all of the time and free time they'll get to spend being happy in the cult, and all of these fun, like, activities they can do together, and other stuff, like some cults have pools and they get to go swimming all the time. Some cults are like very rich because of the amount of members they have, and they'll be able to join this pot of wealth and have the money to do things that they weren't able to do earlier in their lives. After that, they'll move to phase 2, where things start to get bad. They'll start reducing the individualism of each person. This is kind of where they introduce the rules of the cult, the starting things that are maybe a little bit of a red flag, but because they're already in the cult, it's probably been a couple of years at this point, they're already happy there, it's not going to be as bad. They'll get jobs, they'll have to start making donations, they might not get as much sleep because of the new things, might not get as much food as they usually did, but there's always some rewards. They still get that free time that they had earlier. After this, they'll start isolating them from their friends and family because, they have to spend more time in the cult, they have jobs they need to do, they just don't get to talk to the other people that aren't in the cult as much. And this is purposeful, even if it doesn't seem like it is. They want them to be away from the outside world so that they won't see that things are wrong later. After this, they move into phase 3, which is the full introduction. They will show them the worst part of the cults. It's probably been 5 years of them being introduced. Make sure time's right. They're going to show them the bad rules. They're going to start manipulating them, taking full advantage of them, taking all of their money, taking all of their time. They're not allowed to talk to other people outside of the cult anymore. They might not get as good as an education, anything that they thought before. Their ideals and beliefs are going to be replaced by the cult's ideals and beliefs. So they don't have the mental capacity to get out of the cult. And the final step, step 8, is to shun deserters, completely get rid of free thinking, and to make sure that they know that their obedience is what's going to help them make it in the cult. Anyone who leaves the cult or outside of the cult is taking advantage of them. They're terrible people, they're manipulators. You can't go outside, you're only safe in the cult, and you're only safe in the cult if you're thinking the same way as everybody else in the cult, as the leaders want you to think. If you're giving all of your money and all of your time and everything to the cult. And that sounds awful, obviously. You're being fully taken advantage of. But the truth is, anyone could fall into the clutches of a cult if they're not able to recognize the signs of one. How do you avoid this fate? Well, recognizing the signs is the most important step. If you're able to see the signs of a cult and other abusers who usually use the same step, you can remove yourself from a bad situation. The signs are lack of formal recognition, so if they're not recognized by religious boards, they're not studied at religious colleges, they're probably not a good organization to be a part of because there's no research on them. They use deceptiveness or misinformation to lure you in and make it seem better than it is. They outreach extended comfort levels, so you're being invited into people's houses the first time you meet them. They're not taking no for an answer. You have to go to these events. You have to love the people in the cult, even if you don't really know them. They're going to advertise inappropriately, and their mentor will be inappropriately. They're going to want to learn personal details about you so that you can be abused and manipulated with them later, usually using blackmail of some sort. And they'll use absolutism. They are always right. Something bad is going to happen, but the cult is the way out of it. It's always the way out. They'll separate you from your loved ones so that you can't go to them if they need help. They'll push major changes onto you, remove you from the city you originally lived in, make you change your ways of life, stuff like that. They'll make you feel less than and emotionally distressed. You'll have anxiety, you'll have depression, you'll be sad all the time. But you have to look happy because everyone else in the cult is happy and it's you who is wrong. And they'll deny that they are a cult or that their practices are abusive. And how do you deal with these things if you see the signs of one? Well, obviously, you see the signs of an abuser, you want to avoid the abuser. Also, reporting them to proper authorities is always good. This doesn't necessarily mean the police, the religious institutions, especially the one I mentioned earlier. the Association of Cultic Info, have hotlines that you can call to report cults, and it'll put them on FBI watch lists and make sure that they can't continue to take advantage of other people, even if you aren't being taken advantage of. You want to maintain your relationships and perspectives outside of groups that you're in. Like, you want to be your own person and know who you are compared to everyone else in your life. And you want to be involved with many people and groups so that you have a full perspective of everyone, so you're less likely to be taken advantage of. And educate yourself on religious beliefs and manipulation tactics so that you are more likely to recognize the signs of them. Cults take advantage of people, they make your life miserable, and they need to be avoided at all costs. And they're way more common than most people think. It's estimated that 0.5 to 3% of people in the world are a member of cults at some point in their life, and there's 7 or 8 billion people in the world at this point. 3% might not seem like a lot, but 3% of 8 billion is a lot of people. And you have to be actively looking out for the signs of a cult or other predatory practices to avoid them. And you have to be educated on the practices to even see them in the first place. Being a literate consumer of the facts of your life and what's going on around you can prevent you from being involved in harmful groups and harmful practices. So you have to be aware and looking out for everything in your life, and just keep a harmful bit of fear so that you aren't being taken advantage of.